Hey guys, Karen here, back with another Last Epoch video. So I've been grinding Last Epoch for the last month, and currently I have 375 hours in the game. So I have played a little bit. I have 6 legacy characters who are above level 80. Some of them are level 90, and I've leveled characters quite a few times. So let's quickly talk about the fastest way to level up your characters using the campaign skip method. Now, 2 things to note about the campaign skip method. First is that you'll need to have dungeon keys to do this. So you can do this if you've played maybe a second or third, fourth character, if you've been storing up dungeon keys in your stash tab, in your stash space. Otherwise, unless of course, if you play like a solo account found type character or character found where it's only bound to that stash, unfortunately you won't be able to use this method. The second thing to note is that this method will jump you through different timelines, so it can get a little bit confusing. Also, it can be challenging for certain characters. If of course you're playing like Falconer, Rune Master, or Lich for example, this will be easy mode for you, but if you're playing Forge Guard, for example, it might be a little bit difficult. You can, of course, take your time to farm a bit of levels if you need to, or additional side quests for the additional idle slots and extra passive points. But it will save you time, and it's probably the fastest way to level up your character, going through the campaign skip, as opposed to doing the whole campaign. Now, with that out of the way, let's quickly talk about what you'll be doing. So first, you'll start out the game in the Divine Era, the Ulatri Cliffs. If you look at the map, this is where you'll be starting, and you'll be making your ways to the Keeper's Camp. You will be playing through the campaign until you reach the Council Chambers, which is this area where you have Elder Gaspar. So this area on the map. Now continue playing through the Council of Chambers until you unlock the End of Time, and you do choose your mastery as well. And you will be choosing your mastery probably at around level 15 or so, where you unlock your mastery. Once you get to the Council Chambers area, you can see on the map towards the right side, there's an area called the Surface. Above the surface, you can explore the areas on the surface to unlock a door or a gate called the Shrouded Ridge, whereby you'll see the Lightless Arbor dungeon. So you need to traverse across this way, do the campaign as normal until you unlock the Cultist camp, then go back to the surface and go and unlock the Lightless Arbor dungeon. At this point when you get to the dungeon, this dungeon is level 20, so you need to have a Lightless Arbor key in order to unlock this. You can see how I need to put a Lightless Arbor key. This dungeon is actually a level 20 dungeon, and you should be around level 20, so go through the dungeon and beat it. Now, as you're playing through the campaign, if you do see quests when you get to towns and things like that, do pick them up. You can always come back later on to do the quests, but you can see here that you'll be collecting quests along the way, and these quests are easy to accomplish if you're in that zone. You can just pick them up straight away. You can also see that as I pick up quests, I can see what the rewards are, and they reward passive points. So here on the bottom right, it will tell you passive point rewards 15 out of 15, idle slot rewards 8 out of 8. So picking up passive points and idle slot rewards are very important when you're playing through the campaign. It just gives you an extra boost of power as you're doing it. You can get up to 15 extra passive points, and you can also unlock idle slots, which also give you boost in stats as well. So make sure you're picking up the side quests as you do them. If you have a chance to easily do it, you can go and do that. So after you complete the Lightless Arbor dungeon, you'll be here at the Corrupted Lake. Now, once you're at the Corrupted Lake area, you can get the waypoint on the Corrupted Lake. You do have to go around this area to find the waypoint. But once you find the waypoint, it also gives you a quest as well, which gives you a bit of experience and passive points as well. So I do recommend picking up the waypoint in. But once you're in the Corrupted Lake here, there's a waypoint. Make your way towards that waypoint. This waypoint will take you to the Risen Lake area in the Imperial era. So you are currently in the Corrupted Lake Ruined era. Now this will take you into the Imperial era with the Risen Lake area. Now above the Risen Lake where it pops you out, you can see the Soulfire dungeon, which is the next dungeon that you need to do to skip part of the campaign. But what we'll be doing instead is making our way towards this area here, the Imperial Dreadnought. So the part of the campaign will take you to this area, the Imperial Dreadnought. When you get to the Imperial Dreadnought, there will be another time rift. This time rift will take you into this area here called the Shining Cove. Now the Shining Cove is right beside this alternate leveling path. This is the Temporal Sanctum, which is the third dungeon that you'll be doing. So currently we haven't even completed the second dungeon. This will take you to the third dungeon. Now it will take you to the third dungeon, but you can't unlock this yet because you do need to get to this point, the Oracle's Abode. So what I do recommend at this point is that gaining levels are going to be very important because the level cap between you and the dungeons are going to be very high. You need to level up, otherwise you'll feel weak. And in that scenario, I'd suggest maybe stay in a certain zone and farm for a little bit before you go ahead and progress to a dungeon. Once you have unlocked the Shining Cove, you'll have to come back to this area later on. So what I would suggest is leave this for now and make your way back. Make your way back to the Risen Lake. There is a waypoint at this area. Unlock the waypoint if you didn't unlock it earlier, and make your way up to the Soulfire Bastion. So the Soulfire Bastion dungeon is level 45. So at this point, you might be like level 35, maybe even level 40 at this point. If you are at that point, what I would suggest is if you have the dungeon key available for the Soulfire Bastion, try this dungeon out. And perhaps you might need multiple dungeons. Luckily, this dungeon has some unique mechanics. So learn the mechanic of switching between the fire and necrotic immunity, because this will help you during the fight. And also the mechanic is actually necessary during the boss fight as well, because the boss fight is going to be quite hard when you're fighting the boss. This dungeon does give a lot of levels, so it's actually a good time to farm here as well. But note, the enemies are strong if you are underleveled. Finishing this dungeon actually pops you out at the Kolheim Pass, which is here in the Divine Era. So once you can see here, it says completing the Soulfire dungeon will place you in the Kolheim Pass. Once you've unlocked this area, you can actually go across to the Champion's Gate arena and unlock the waypoint for Champion's Gate. Okay, so once you've unlocked the arena, now it's time to unlock the third dungeon, and you can make your way back in the Imperial Era back to the Shining Cove here. So once you're at the Shining Cove, you need to make your way up to the Oracle's Abode. At the Oracle's Abode, there is a side quest. This side quest will ask you to go to the dungeon of the Temporal Sanctum, and that will now be open as well. So when you click on, so this side quest allows you to take the time rift. This time rift will take you into the ruined coast, where the Temporal Sanctum is now available for us to unlock. Now at this point, if you do complete the Temporal Sanctum, this will allow you to skip a chunk of the campaign as well. But note that the final boss, the Chronomancer Jura, is quite hard, especially because this dungeon will be a level 55 dungeon, and at this point you might not be level 55, possibly you might be like level 50 or so. So if you can't complete it yet, or you don't want to risk your keys because you don't have many Temporal Sanctum keys, you can always go back and farm a particular zone, or you can just finish the campaign off. Otherwise, I would recommend trying to do more side quests, pick up more passives and idle points. However, if you are able to complete this dungeon, you can see here there is a dungeon exit. After completing the Temporal Sanctum, you'll arrive at this location. This will take you to the Radiant Dunes. Once you get to the Radiant Dunes, you can make your way across to the Majelka exit. Once you've done Majelka, it's not too far from the finish of the campaign. This is the last act. Essentially, the campaign will take you from Majelka all the way up to the Eyrie. From Eyrie, you get on your eagle. You'll fly back down to the temple rooftops. From the temple rooftops, you'll make your way to the Chamber of Vessels, and that will be the end of Act 9. So that's my quick video on how I've been finishing the campaign in a few hours. And also I find doing the campaign and doing this level skip is the fastest way to finish the story. also unlock all of the free passive points that you get as well. So the passive point rewards and the idols, whilst also making it a little bit challenging as well, because the bosses in this particular fight are a little bit harder because you will be underleveled. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, have an awesome day. Bye for now.